What I'm about to share with you will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about healing, about Jesus, and about the true power that exists within human consciousness. 6 months ago, 3 different oncologists told me I had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. They gave me 6 months to live. Today, I'm standing here, completely cancer-free, and every single tumor has vanished without a trace. But this isn't a story about modern medicine or experimental treatments. This is a story about a crashed extraterrestrial being who performed a healing on me that defied every law of physics, and what he revealed about Jesus Christ's true healing abilities will give you chills. Before this story ends, you will understand why the medical establishment can't cure cancer. You'll discover the quantum healing technology that Jesus actually used, and you'll learn how to activate healing frequencies within your own body that hospitals never told you existed. If you're ready to hear truths about healing and human divine potential that have been suppressed for 2,000 years, subscribe to Stories of Light and activate that notification bell. Because what happened to me in the mountains of North Carolina will prove that you are far more powerful than any doctor, any pharmaceutical company, or any religious institution ever wanted you to know. Now let me tell you how this all began. It was March 14th, 2024. I remember the date because it was exactly 73 days after my diagnosis, and I'd been keeping count. Every morning I woke up, I calculated how many days I had left, according to Dr. Harrison's timeline. 180 days total, 73 down, 107 to go. I was at my cabin outside Asheville, the one I'd bought 10 years ago as a weekend retreat, but now served as my place to die. I'd stopped going to the hospital 3 weeks earlier. No more chemotherapy, no more radiation. No more false hope wrapped in statistics and sympathetic looks from nurses who'd seen this story end the same way 1,000 times before. It was just past midnight when I first saw the lights. I'd been on the back deck, staring at the stars, wondering which direction heaven was supposed to be. That's when the entire sky lit up, not gradually, but instantly, like someone had flipped a cosmic light switch. The brightness was intense, almost painful, but I couldn't look away. A streak of blue-white fire tore across the darkness, moving in ways that made no physical sense. It zigged when it should have zagged. It stopped mid-air, hovered, then accelerated at impossible angles. And it was descending fast, headed directly toward the ridge behind my property. The impact shook the cabin. Coffee cups rattled in the kitchen. The deck boards trembled beneath my bare feet. Somewhere in the forest, maybe a quarter mile away, something had crashed. My first thought was to call 911. My second thought was, what's the point? I had 6 months to live anyway, maybe less now. The cancer had spread to my liver, my lungs, my lymph nodes. I was essentially a dead man walking. But then I heard it. Not with my ears, with something else, a voice that wasn't a voice, pressing against the inside of my skull. Help. Please. Help. I stood there, gripping the deck railing, my rational mind screaming that I was hallucinating. Pain medications can do that. Stage 4 cancer can do that. Dying can definitely do that. Please. Injured. Help. I went inside, grabbed my medical bag, old habits die hard, and a flashlight. If I was hallucinating, fine. If something had actually crashed, maybe I could help. Either way, what did I have to lose? The hike through the forest should have killed me. My oncologist had explicitly warned against any strenuous activity. Conserve your energy, he'd said, as if saving my strength would somehow make dying easier. But adrenaline is a hell of a drug, and something was pulling me forward, step after painful step. The crash site was impossible to miss. Trees had been sheared off at odd angles, their trunks still smoking. The ground was scorched in a perfect circle,
and at the center sat something that absolutely should not exist. It wasn't a plane, it wasn't a helicopter. It was roughly 30 feet in diameter, disc-shaped, made of a material that seemed to shift between metallic and something almost organic. Sections of the hull were cracked open, revealing an interior that pulsed with bioluminescent light. And there, halfway out of the craft, was a being. He, and somehow I knew it was a he, was approximately 4 feet tall. His skin had a silvery gray quality that reminded me of both metal and flesh simultaneously. His head was disproportionately large, with enormous almond-shaped eyes that held a depth of intelligence I'd never seen in any human gaze. One of his legs was bent at an unnatural angle. Dark fluid, his blood, I assumed, pooled beneath him. He looked directly at me, and in that moment, everything I thought I knew about reality collapsed. You, our physician. I sensed you. Please. My medical training kicked in before my disbelief could stop me. I approached slowly, hands visible, exactly as I would with any scared patient in an emergency room. I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell, I said out loud, not sure if he could hear spoken words. I'm going to help you. Thank you. Thank you. Name is Zephyr. From star system you call Zeta Reticuli.
My name is Dr. Sarah Mitchell, and until 6 months ago, I had everything figured out. I'd been an oncologist for 22 years. I graduated top of my class from Duke Medical School, did my residency at Johns Hopkins, and built a successful practice in Charlotte, North Carolina. I specialized in pancreatic cancer, ironically, the same disease that would eventually try to kill me. I loved my work. I genuinely did. There's something sacred about walking alongside people during the darkest journey of their lives. I held hands as patients took their last breaths. I celebrated with families when scans came back clear. I learned to deliver terrible news with compassion and honest statistics with hope. But if I'm being truthful, I was also deeply, profoundly tired. My husband James died 7 years ago. Sudden heart attack at 48, collapsed on our kitchen floor while making coffee on a Sunday morning. One moment, he was telling me about his plans to rebuild the deck. The next moment, he was gone. We'd never had children. We'd always planned to, but first there was medical school, then residency, then building the practice, and suddenly we were in our 40s and it felt too late. After James died, I threw myself even harder into work. Patients became my family. The hospital became my home. I was raised Baptist, the kind where we attended services every Wednesday evening and twice on Sundays. My father was a deacon, my mother taught Sunday school. I memorized Bible verses and sang in the choir and believed with absolute certainty that Jesus Christ died for my sins and rose again on the third day. But after James died, something broke inside me. I prayed. God, how I prayed. I begged God to save him during those terrible minutes of CPR. I pleaded for a miracle, for divine intervention, for any sign that there was a loving force in the universe that cared about my suffering. The silence was deafening. At the funeral, people told me James was in a better place and with Jesus now. They said I should take comfort in knowing I'd see him again in heaven. But all I could think was, why did God need him more than I did? Why would a supposedly loving God create two people, allow them to build a life together, and then rip them apart with no warning? I stopped going to church. I stopped praying. I didn't become an atheist exactly. I just became someone who no longer expected God to show up when it mattered. And then I got sick. The symptoms started subtly. Back pain I attributed to long hospital shifts.
a loss of appetite I blamed on stress. By the time I finally ordered my own CT scan, the pancreatic mass was 4 centimeters, with metastases already seeded throughout my abdomen. Stage 4. 6 months, maybe 8, if chemotherapy worked. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent 2 decades treating pancreatic cancer patients. I knew the statistics better than anyone. 5-year survival rate, less than 10%. I'd had conversations about quality of life and making the most of the time you have left hundreds of times. Now, it was my turn to sit on the other side of that conversation. I tried the treatments. I did everything I'd recommended to countless patients over the years. Chemotherapy that made me vomit for days. Radiation that left burn marks on my skin. Clinical trials for drugs that hadn't worked for anyone else. Nothing helped. The cancer spread. At 52 years old, I was dying, and I was angry. Angry at my body for betraying me, angry at medicine for being powerless against this disease, angry at God for being absent once again when I needed Him most. Late at night, alone in my cabin, I would stare at the ceiling and whisper the same questions I'd whispered after James died. Is this all there is? Did I do everything right? School, career, marriage, service, just to end up dying alone and terrified? If there's a God, if there's any justice or meaning to this universe, why does it feel so utterly cold and empty? I had no idea that the universe was about to answer me in the most extraordinary way possible.
Zephyr's leg was clearly broken, possibly in multiple places. The dark fluid seeping from the wound had a consistency somewhere between blood and something more viscous, almost luminescent. "I need to stabilize this," I said, kneeling beside him. "It's going to hurt." "Pain is manageable. You are kind. Most humans would run, fear." "I'm a doctor," I told him, though my hands were shaking as I opened my medical bag. "It's literally my job not to run." I worked as quickly as I could, using supplies meant for hiking emergencies. The anatomy was different. His bone structure seemed more porous, lighter than human skeletal composition, but the principles were the same. Stabilize the break, control the bleeding, monitor for shock. As I worked, Zephyr watched me with those enormous eyes. Despite everything, the impossible craft, the alien biology, the complete shattering of my understanding of reality, I felt strangely calm. Maybe I was in shock. Maybe the cancer had spread to my brain and this was all an elaborate hallucination. Or maybe, for the first time in 7 years, I was actually being useful again. "There," I said finally, securing the improvised splint. "That should hold until... I stopped. Until what? Until the mothership arrives? Until Men in Black show up? What was the protocol for treating extraterrestrial beings?" "Until I can heal properly," Zephyr supplied. "Your medical intervention has bought time. But I must ask, may I remain at your dwelling? My ship needs repairs. Several days, perhaps. I cannot return to my people until vessel is functional." Every rational instinct screamed at me to say no, to call someone, to run. But who would I call? And honestly, did it matter? I was dying anyway. What were they going to do? Arrest me? Kill me? The cancer was already handling that. "You can stay," I heard myself say. "The cabin has a guest room. I'll help you there." "You are in pain," Zephyr said suddenly. "Physical pain. Not from this night. Older, deeper, illness." I froze. "How do you—" "I can perceive energy signatures, biological disruptions. There is darkness in your abdomen, growing, spreading, Cancer, I said flatly. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months to live, give or take. For a long moment, Zephyr simply stared at me. Then, "This is why you helped me. You believe you have nothing to lose." Pretty much. Dr. Sarah Mitchell. And hearing my name in that telepathic voice sent chills down my spine. I did not crash here by accident. There are no accidents. And if you allow me, I can help you, as you helped me. Help me how? I can heal you. But first, there are things you must understand. About healing, about your species, about the one you called Jesus. My heart stopped. Jesus? What does Jesus have to do with aliens? Everything. He was one of us, not physically, but consciously. He came to teach you healing methods that your species has forgotten. Methods that I can show you. Methods that can cure what you call incurable. I should have dismissed it as delusion or manipulation, but something in his energy, in the absolute certainty behind his words, made me hesitate. "Show me," I whispered. We made it back to the cabin as dawn began breaking over the mountains. I helped Zephyr into the guest room, and despite his injury, he moved with a grace that seemed almost practiced, as if he'd learned to compensate for his damaged leg within minutes. I made coffee, more for the ritual than because I needed it, and sat across from him in my living room as sunrise painted the walls gold. "You have prayed," Zephyr began, "for many years, for your husband, for yourself, for healing. But the prayers feel empty, unanswered." "How do you know that?" I demanded, feeling suddenly exposed. "I do not read minds in the way you fear, but I perceive emotional frequencies, and yours carries the signature of someone who once believed deeply, then experienced profound betrayal of that belief." He wasn't wrong. I'd spent 7 years feeling betrayed by God. "The reason your prayers feel unanswered," Zephyr continued, "is because you are praying wrong. You operate from frequency of lack, begging, pleading, desperate. And when you broadcast lack, the universe reflects lack back to you." "That's not how prayer works," I said automatically, falling back on Sunday school lessons from childhood. "You ask God for help. He answers or he doesn't." "And who taught you this method?" "The Bible, the church, everyone." "Exactly. And where did churches learn this?" Zephyr's eyes seemed to glow softly in the morning light. "Not from Jesus. From institutions built centuries after his death, organizations that transformed his teachings of empowerment into doctrines of dependency." I set my coffee down. "What are you saying?" "Jesus of Nazareth did not teach you to beg external God for healing. He taught you to activate healing frequencies within your own consciousness. When he said, 'The kingdom of God is within you,' he was providing precise technical instruction." "Technical instruction?" I repeated. "Jesus performed miracles, divine miracles." "He performed applications of consciousness technology. What you call miracles were demonstrations of natural laws your science has not yet discovered. And he explicitly told you, 'You will do greater works than I have done.' Not metaphor, literal truth." I felt something shift in my chest, part resistance, part desperate hope. When Jesus healed the sick, he was not appealing to external deity to override natural law.
He was perceiving energetic patterns, creating illness, and then directing high-frequency consciousness to realign those patterns with health templates. "That sounds like pseudoscience," I said, but my voice lacked conviction. "Your own medicine acknowledges placebo effect, patients' belief creating measurable physiological change. Why do you call it effect instead of what it is? Proof that consciousness directly influences matter." I had no answer for that. Jesus understood this completely. His teachings were about mastering the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. Love was not emotional sentiment. It was specific frequency that automatically harmonized biological systems. Faith was not hoping for external intervention. It was holding consciousness in certainty that desired outcome already exists at quantum level, forcing reality to conform. "If that's true," I said slowly, "then why didn't the churches teach it that way?" Because humans who understand their own power do not need institutional intermediaries, do not pay tithes for salvation, do not submit to religious authority. The church built an empire on keeping humanity ignorant of divine nature that exists in every individual. I thought about all the prayers I'd whispered in empty rooms, all the times I'd begged God to intervene, to save James, to cure my cancer, feeling guilty when nothing changed because maybe I hadn't been faithful enough, good enough, worthy enough. "So, you're saying God isn't out there?" I gestured vaguely skyward. "I am saying God is not separate from you. Consciousness that you call God is fundamental fabric of universe, and you are localized expression of that consciousness. When Jesus said, 'I and the Father are one,' he was revealing truth about all consciousness, not claiming exclusive divinity." Something inside me was breaking open, or maybe something was finally starting to make sense. "Can you prove any of this?" I whispered. Zephyr tilted his head. "Would you like me to heal the plant on your windowsill? It is dying." I glanced at the potted fern I'd been neglecting for weeks, brown leaves, drooping stems. "That would take days, even with water and—" "Watch." Zephyr extended one long-fingered hand toward the plant. He didn't touch it, didn't speak, just focused. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then the leaves began to shift, slowly at first, then faster. Brown edges turned green, drooping stems straightened. Within 3 minutes, the fern looked healthier than it had in months. "What did you just—" I directed concentrated love frequency toward plant's cellular structure. At quantum level, every organism knows its optimal expression. I simply reminded this plant of its template. Its own biology did the healing. I stared at the fern, then at Zephyr, then back at the fern. "That's impossible." "It is impossible only because you have been taught to believe it is impossible. Jesus performed identical healing constantly. Your faith has healed you," he said, "not my power has healed you." He was trying to show people their own capacity. My hand started shaking. "Can you tell me I could do that? To myself?" "Yes. But first, you must unlearn everything churches taught you about healing, about God, about Jesus, and about your own nature." I looked down at my body, thin from chemotherapy, weak from cancer, dying cell by cell. "How long do I have to unlearn and relearn everything?" "As long as you choose, because healing is not about time. It is about frequency. Change the frequency, and the timeline changes with it. For the first time since my diagnosis, I felt something besides despair. I felt possibility.
Over the next several days, as Zephyr recovered in my guest room and worked on repairing his craft, he began teaching me about consciousness, healing, and the true nature of Jesus' mission. And with every revelation, my trained rational mind fought back harder. On the third morning, I woke up convinced I'd lost my mind. This is a stress response, I said to myself, pacing the kitchen. Terminal diagnosis, psychological break, elaborate hallucination. There's no alien in my house. I'm having a mental health crisis. You are not hallucinating. Zephyr's voice entered my mind from the other room. Would you like me to move object without touching it? Provide information you cannot know. Your skepticism is healthy, but test it properly. Fine, I called out. Tell me something you couldn't possibly know. Silence for a moment. Then, your husband's last words were, "Deck looks terrible." You spent 3 years feeling guilty that your final conversation was about home improvement instead of love. But he knew you loved him. He felt it every day. No words were necessary. I sank into a chair, tears streaming down my face. No one knew that. I'd never told anyone. Still believe you are hallucinating? By day 4, my religious programming kicked into high gear. This is demonic deception, I said aloud during one of our sessions. The Bible warns about false teachers in the last days, about Satan appearing as an angel of light. Zephyr regarded me calmly. If I were here to deceive you, would I teach about love, compassion, healing? Would I be showing you how to access your own power instead of making you dependent on me? What demon empowers humans? But you're saying Jesus wasn't the Son of God. That's blasphemy. I am saying Jesus was more than your theology allows. He was what your entire species can become. When religious leaders made him uniquely divine, they stole your birthright. They transformed his message from "you can do this too" into "only worship him, never become like him." The Bible says. The Bible was compiled by council of men 3 centuries after Jesus died. They chose which text to include based on political agenda of maintaining institutional power. Many Gospels that showed Jesus teaching people to access their own divine abilities were deliberately excluded. I wanted to argue, but I'd studied enough religious history to know he wasn't wrong about the Council of Nicaea. The Church has studied these things for 2,000 years. Brilliant theologians, devoted scholars. Who are you to contradict centuries of teaching? The Church built empire on incomplete truth. Brilliant minds working from flawed premises produce sophisticated errors. And devoted scholars who challenge institutional doctrine are typically silenced, exiled, or historically erased. So every Christian for 2 millennia has been wrong? Not wrong, incomplete. They taught the best truth they had access to. But imagine teaching mathematics while refusing to acknowledge algebra. That is what churches did. They preserved arithmetic while hiding calculus. Because people who understand advanced mathematics don't need tutors. The analogy landed harder than I wanted to admit. By day 6, I was grappling with a more personal crisis. If I accept what you're teaching, what does that make me? A heretic? A fool? Everything I've believed, everything I've taught others, was it all wrong? Evolution is not betrayal, Zephyr said gently. You taught the deepest truth you had access to.
Now you have access to deeper truth. Growth is not abandoning foundation. It is building higher. But my father was a deacon. My mother taught Sunday school. They genuinely believed. And their belief was beautiful. Incomplete, but beautiful. You honor them by seeking deeper understanding, not by freezing at the level where they stopped searching. "Why me?" I asked on day 7, voice breaking. "I'm nobody special. A 52-year-old oncologist dying of cancer in the middle of nowhere. Why would cosmic beings choose me?" Jesus did not choose kings and priests. He chose fishermen, tax collectors, prostitutes, the broken, the doubting, the marginalized. Because the broken are open, the wounded are humble, and humility is doorway to truth that arrogance will never find. I'm not humble, I'm just dying. Dying breaks open what success keeps closed. Your cancer is not punishment, it is curriculum. And like all curriculum, its purpose is to prepare you for what comes next. If this is true, I've wasted decades, 22 years treating cancer patients with methods that barely work when there might be this? My voice cracked. How many people died afraid because I couldn't tell them about their own power? How many patients did I fail? Guilt is low-frequency emotion that keeps you trapped in the past. You cannot change what you did not know, but you can change future. Every moment is choice point. Continue operating from old paradigm or step into new understanding. If James died terrified, I sobbed. He begged me to save him during the CPR. He was so scared. And I held his hand and told him that he was going to heaven, that Jesus loved him, all the comforting lies I'd been taught. But if this is what you're saying is true, I should have told him. I couldn't continue. That consciousness is eternal. That death is transition, not termination. That love transcends physical separation. Yes, if I'd known, I could have. James knows now. Death is a great revealer. In transition, so much becomes clear that was clouded in physical form. He understands now what neither of you could articulate then, and he is asking you to forgive yourself. How can you know that? Because consciousness does not end with physical death, and those who transition often remain peripherally connected to those they loved. James has been trying to reach you for 7 years, but your grief frequency was too dense. Your anger at God created a wall between you. Something shattered inside me. The wall I'd built around my heart since James died came crashing down, and I wept harder than I had at his funeral. Let it out, Zephyr transmitted softly. Tears are frequency cleansing. You are releasing 7 years of compressed grief. This is necessary. I cried for James, for the patients I couldn't save, for the God I'd lost faith in, for the scared, angry woman I'd become. And when the tears finally stopped, I felt something I hadn't felt since before my husband died. I felt ready. Ready to learn. Ready to try. Ready to become something more than a victim of circumstance. Teach me, I whispered. Teach me everything.
"Before I teach you to heal yourself," Zephyr said, "let me show you what I perceive when I look at your body." He gestured for me to sit, then closed his enormous eyes. His hand hovered several inches above my abdomen, not touching, just sensing. Primary tumor, pancreatic head, 4.3 centimeters. Metastases, multiple liver lesions, largest 1.7 centimeters. Bilateral pulmonary micronodules, too small for standard imaging, but present. Lymphatic involvement,
para-aortic, celiac axis, portal vein. Vascular encasement suggests surgical non-viability. I stopped breathing. That was precisely what my latest scans had shown. Details I hadn't shared with him. How every pathological state creates distinct energetic signature. Cancerous cells vibrate at different frequency than healthy cells. Your medical instruments detect this indirectly through molecular markers and anatomical changes. I perceive the vibrational discord directly. And Jesus could do this? Jesus could perceive energetic patterns instantly. This is why he often knew what afflicted people before they spoke. Your Gospel of Luke describes woman with bleeding disorder who touched his garment. Jesus said, "I felt power go out from me." He perceived exact moment healing energy transferred. This time, Zephyr brought me to a nearly dead houseplant, something that had been neglected for months, practically skeletal. Watch carefully. I will show you the technique, then you will attempt it. He placed both hands around the plant without touching it. I watched as his eyes began to emit a soft bioluminescence. The temperature in the room seemed to shift. Over the next 15 minutes, I watched cell regeneration happen in real time. Stems that had been brown and brittle turned green and supple. Leaves that had been curled and dead unfurled into healthy, vibrant tissue. New growth appeared where there had been only decay. "That's impossible," I breathed. "No, that is normal expression of concentrated love frequency directed at biological system. The plant's own intelligence does the healing. I merely provide energetic catalyst." And Jesus did this? Jesus did this with human bodies, constantly. "Be made whole," he would say. He was not commanding God to intervene. He was directing healing frequency and commanding the person's own biology to remember its healthy template. Now you try. Not the plant, yourself. My hand instinctively went to my abdomen where the primary tumor sat. Close your eyes, feel the tumor, not with fear, but with curiosity. What is its energetic signature? I focused inward. At first, nothing. Then, a sensation, a kind of heaviness, a wrongness, like static on a radio. Good. You perceive the dissonance. Now, instead of fighting it, instead of hating it, I want you to direct love toward it. Not emotional sentiment, pure unconditional acceptance. Love as energetic force. How do I remember moment of deepest love? With James, perhaps? Feel that frequency in your heart center. Now amplify it, expand it, let it fill your entire torso. I thought of James's smile, the way he looked at me on our wedding day. 30 years of small moments of love compressed into a single feeling. My hands began to feel warm. Yes, that is the frequency. Now direct it specifically toward the tumor. Imagine the love frequency dissolving dissonance, reminding cells of their healthy expression. For 10 minutes I held that state. When I opened my eyes, my hands were shaking. Did it work? You will need to practice this daily. Healing is not single event. It is sustained frequency shift. But yes, you initiated the process. At cellular level, you have just sent your first conscious message to the cancer. You are loved, you are seen, return to health. On day 11, I mentioned my friend Rebecca. another oncologist at my practice who'd recently been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. "Give me object she has touched." I found a pen Rebecca had left at my house months ago. Zephyr held the pen, closed his eyes, and went completely still for 20 minutes. I watched, mesmerized, as his body seemed to emanate a faint golden light. "It is done," he said finally. "She will notice significant improvement within 36 hours." "You healed her? From here? Just holding a pen?" Distance is illusion at quantum level. Consciousness is non-local. Jesus healed Roman sentry's servant from miles away. He healed without physical proximity because he understood consciousness transcends space. 2 days later, Rebecca called me, voice shaking. "Sarah, the strangest thing. My arthritis, it's just gone. Every joint. No pain, no inflammation. Labs came back normal. Doctors have no explanation." I didn't tell her the truth. Not yet. But I knew. "One final demonstration," Zephyr said on day 13, "to prove that consciousness does not merely heal, it creates." Creates what? "Choose a number, any number. Write it down, do not show me." I wrote 47 on a piece of paper and folded it. "Now, for the next 36 hours, I want you to hold absolute certainty that the number you chose will appear as synchronicity. Not hope, not wish, certainty, as if it already happened." For 36 hours, I practiced the feeling of knowing. Not anticipating or wondering, just knowing. On the second day, I received 3 text messages, all time-stamped 4/47. My grocery bill came to $47. A random license plate, JHM 447. A page number in a book I opened randomly, 47. 7 times in 36 hours, the number 47 appeared. How is this possible? You consciously selected probability stream. At quantum level, all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your sustained consciousness collapsed wave function toward specific outcome. This is how Jesus knew that things would happen. He wasn't predicting future. He was selecting which future would manifest through sustained consciousness. So prayer, real prayer, is not begging. It is selecting desired outcome, feeling gratitude as if already received, and maintaining that frequency until physical reality rearranges to match. Jesus gave thanks before miracles manifested because he understood at quantum level they were already complete.
By day 15, my body felt different. The pain had diminished. I had more energy. Something fundamental was shifting. And that's when Zephyr decided I was ready for the deeper teachings. "The being you know as Jesus," Zephyr began, "had evolved far beyond the need for physical incarnation. He was what we call ascended master, consciousness that had completed evolutionary cycles across multiple worlds and dimensions." So he was an alien? Not in the biological sense, but yes, his consciousness originated from far beyond Earth. He chose to incarnate here as human to assist your species' evolution. Why? Because Earth is in critical evolutionary moment. Your species stands at threshold. You can awaken to your divine nature and join galactic community, or you can destroy yourselves through fear and separation. Jesus came to tip the scales toward awakening. But churches teach he came to die for our sins. The crucifixion was not the mission. It was consequence of humans fearing his message. Jesus came to teach that humans are divine consciousness, experiencing temporary physical form, that love is creative force of universe, that you have infinite power to heal, to manifest, to transcend limitations. These teachings threatened religious and political powers, so they killed the messenger and corrupted the message. Jesus was never alone. He maintained constant telepathic contact with what you might call cosmic council, assembly of evolved beings from multiple civilizations. The times he went into the wilderness were not isolation. They were cosmic conferences. He was receiving guidance, downloading information, coordinating with beings like my people on how to most effectively teach consciousness principles to species still operating primarily from fear. And after the resurrection, his consciousness transitioned to higher dimensional expression, but he remains connected to Earth's evolution. What Christians call second coming is not him returning from sky. It is the collective awakening of Christ consciousness within humanity. Every healing Jesus performed was application of specific principles, not supernatural intervention, natural laws your science hasn't discovered. Can you teach me those laws? Yes. First law, consciousness precedes matter. Your body is projection of your consciousness, like a dream is projection of a sleeping mind. Change consciousness and body automatically changes. Second law, love is highest frequency. When you operate from genuine love frequency, you automatically harmonize all biological systems. This is why Jesus' presence was healing. He maintained constant love frequency. Third law, belief shapes reality. Quantum experiments prove observer affects outcome. Your conviction about what is possible literally determines what manifests. Fourth law, forgiveness releases density. Resentment, guilt, shame are low-frequency energies that create physical disease. This is why Jesus emphasized forgiveness. It is energetic hygiene. Fifth law, gratitude accelerates manifestation. When you feel grateful for healing before it fully manifests physically, you create magnetic pole that collapses quantum possibilities toward desired outcome. You have been practicing for 2 weeks. Now we implement full protocol. Zephyr taught me a daily practice. Morning, 30 minutes. Enter meditative state. Visualize body as liquid light, no solid form. Watch tumors dissolved like ice in sunlight. Feel cells remembering perfect health template. Maintain gratitude frequency throughout. Throughout day, monitor thoughts, redirect negative patterns immediately. Practice love frequency toward all experiences, especially toward the cancer itself. No more fighting. Speak to cells, you are loved, return to health. Evening, 30 minutes. Review day without judgment. Forget self for any fear-based thinking. Program sleep for deep cellular repair. Trust body's intelligence to heal during rest. Do this religiously for 60 days, Zephyr instructed. Religion means to bind together. Bind your consciousness to healing frequency consistently. Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness was similar practice, sustained consciousness elevation. This was the hardest teaching to hear. Your cancer is not punishment or bad luck. At soul level, you chose this experience. I chose to die slowly and painfully? You chose a catalyst for awakening. Before incarnation, your consciousness reviewed various life paths. The one you selected included this health crisis because your higher self knew you would not awaken to your power without being pushed to the edge. Comfort keeps humans asleep. Desperation cracks them open. That's cruel. No, that is courage. Your soul chose a difficult path because it wanted rapid evolution. And look,
You have gone from traditional Christian to someone having telepathic conversations with extraterrestrial being, learning quantum healing, questioning every assumption. Would you have done this without the cancer?" I was silent because we both knew the answer. Jesus taught, "In this world you will have trouble." He was not condemning you to suffering. He was explaining that physical dimension is school, and schools have tests. Your cancer is a test. The question is not, "Why me?" The question is, "What am I learning?"
Something fundamental shifted in my worldview. I stopped fighting the ideas and started living them. Every morning, I woke up and instead of calculating days until death, I practiced the healing visualization Zephyr taught me. I spoke to my cells. I directed love frequency toward the cancer. And I noticed changes, subtle at first, but undeniable. On day 19, during meditation, I spontaneously burst into tears. Not sad tears, releasing tears. 7 years of compressed grief, anger, betrayal, all of it pouring out. I cried for James, for the patients I couldn't save, for the version of God I'd lost faith in, for the woman I'd been before life broke me. And when the tears stopped, I felt lighter, literally physically lighter, as if I'd been carrying invisible weight. Zephyr explained this was density releasing, low-frequency emotions stored in cellular memory, finally given permission to leave. The pain decreased noticeably. The nausea that had been constant for months faded. I had energy to take walks in the forest. On day 25, I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. My skin had color again. My eyes were clear. I looked alive. I should have been deteriorating rapidly by now. Instead, I was improving. I started perceiving things I'd never noticed before. Energy fields around people, what some call auras. I could sense emotional states from across a room. I would think of someone and they'd call within the hour. "You are activating latent abilities," Zephyr explained. "All humans have these capacities. Jesus demonstrated them constantly. Reading thoughts, knowing past events, perceiving what was hidden. Not because he was uniquely divine, but because he had activated natural human capacities that your culture considers supernatural." I couldn't avoid medical documentation forever. I went to my practice for follow-up scans, telling my colleagues I was trying an alternative treatment. The results came back 3 days later. Dr. Harrison called me himself. "Sarah, I don't understand. The pancreatic mass has shrunk by 43%. The liver lesions are nearly gone. The lung mets are undetectable. I've never seen pancreatic cancer respond like this to anything." "What's my prognosis?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "If this trend continues, Sarah, you might actually beat this." I hung up and looked at Zephyr. "It's really working. You are really working. You are doing the healing. I simply showed you how." I started praying again, but nothing like before. No more begging, no more bargaining, no more feeling small and powerless. Instead, thank you for perfect health. Thank you for cells returning to optimal function. Thank you for life flowing through me abundantly. I was praying as if the healing was already complete, because now I understood. At quantum level, it was. I wasn't the same person anymore. The old Sarah, the one who believed she was powerless victim of random disease, had died. A new understanding had taken her place. I wasn't just a body with cancer. I was eternal consciousness having temporary physical experience. I was localized expression of divine intelligence.
I was, in the truest sense, what Jesus came to show humanity we are: God experiencing itself through human form. This wasn't arrogance, it was recognition. Zephyr's ship was finally repaired. "You're leaving," I said, feeling both gratitude and loss. "Yes, but you no longer need me. You have direct connection to same consciousness that guided Jesus. Trust your inner knowing." What do I do now? Go back to oncology and just not mention any of this? You do what Jesus did. You heal, you teach, not by preaching, but by demonstrating. Your recovery will inspire questions. When people ask, you share. Some will be ready to hear, most will not. You speak to the ready ones. And the cancer? Will be completely gone within 90 days. Your consciousness has shifted. Your body is simply catching up to what is already true at energetic level. After Zephyr left, I sat on my deck watching the stars, feeling profoundly different. I'd come to this cabin 6 weeks ago to die. Now I understood I was here to be reborn. I was going back to my practice, but not as the same doctor. I would treat patients with conventional medicine when appropriate, but I would also teach those who were open about consciousness healing. I would share what Jesus actually taught, not the sanitized church version, but the revolutionary truth. You are powerful beyond measure. Healing is your birthright. Love is the technology, and consciousness is creative force. Not everyone would understand. Many would call me crazy. Some might try to have my medical license revoked. But some, the edge ones, the desperate ones, the broken open ones, they would hear, they would try, they would heal. And the ripples would spread, just as they did 2,000 years ago when a man named Jesus walked through Galilee, demonstrating what awakened humans could become.
I returned to Charlotte on day 62. My colleagues were shocked. Dr. Harrison actually teared up when he saw me walking through the hospital doors. "Sarah, you look incredible. What treatment did you do?" "Consciousness-based healing," I told him honestly. "Meditation, visualization, frequency work." He laughed. "Well, whatever placebo effect you achieved, it's remarkable. Your latest scans are completely clear. No detectable cancer. I've never seen anything like it." I didn't correct his placebo interpretation. He wasn't ready, but I planted a seed. Maybe consciousness affects biology more directly than we've acknowledged. Margaret Chen, 67, stage 3 breast cancer. She'd exhausted conventional options and was considering hospice. "Mrs. Chen," I said carefully during a follow-up appointment, "would you be open to trying something experimental?" "At this point, I'll try anything." I taught her Zephyr's protocol, simplified, but the core principles: consciousness precedes matter, love as healing frequency, gratitude before manifestation. 3 months later, her tumors had shrunk by 68%. "Dr. Mitchell, what is this?" she asked, voice shaking. "My oncologist says it's impossible." It's not impossible. It's just forgotten. Jesus taught this 2,000 years ago. We're just remembering. Word spread quietly, not through official channels, but through the underground network of desperate people looking for alternatives. Patients started requesting me specifically. Some came for conventional treatment, but the ones who were truly ready, the ones who'd already lost faith in the medical system, they came asking about the consciousness healing. I started hosting small groups at my home on weekends. 10 to 15 people, all dealing with incurable diagnoses. I taught them what Zephyr taught me, what Jesus actually taught. Not religion, consciousness technology. Not everyone healed. Some were too invested in victim identity. Some couldn't sustain the frequency shift. But some did, and those healings were undeniable. 4 months after meeting Zephyr, I went for a comprehensive medical workup. Every scan came back clean. No cancer, no residual markers, complete remission. Dr. Harrison sat across from me, shaking his head. "Sarah, statistically, this shouldn't exist. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer doesn't just disappear." Maybe our statistics are incomplete. Maybe we're measuring physical intervention, but ignoring consciousness variables. "You sound like you've joined a cult," he joked, but there was uncertainty in his eyes. Or maybe I've remembered something medicine forgot. Jesus healed people 2,000 years ago, documented, witnessed, undeniable. What if he was teaching us something we've since lost? For the first time, Dr. Harrison didn't immediately dismiss the idea. "I don't know what you did, but I'd like to learn."
Let me speak directly to you now. What I've shared isn't fantasy or metaphor. This happened to me. I was given 6 months to live by 3 different oncologists. Today, I'm cancer-free, and every medical professional who examines my records is baffled. But here's what matters most. This isn't about me being special. This is about you remembering what you've always been. You have been taught that healing comes from outside, from doctors, from drugs, from divine intervention if you're lucky and worthy enough. You have been taught to see your body as a machine that breaks down, requiring external mechanics to fix. You have been lied to, not maliciously, perhaps, but institutionally, systematically, generationally. You have been taught to forget your own power. Jesus came to remind humanity of something revolutionary. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Not metaphorically, literally. The creative force that shapes reality exists inside your consciousness, not in some distant heaven. When Jesus said, "You will do greater works than I have done," he wasn't being humble. He was stating fact. He came to demonstrate what awakened human consciousness can accomplish, and to tell you explicitly, you can do this too. The churches changed his message. They transformed "you are divine" into "only worship the divine one." They turned empowerment into dependency. They made you small so you would need them. But you are not small. You are a localized expression of the same consciousness that Jesus embodied, the same creative intelligence that heals plants, moves planets, and births galaxies. That intelligence is flowing through you right now. The question is, are you ready to activate it? Stop praying from lack. Stop begging for healing as if you're powerless. Start thanking the universe for perfect health as if you already have it. Feel the gratitude. Live in that frequency. Direct love frequency to your body. Whatever is wrong, pain, disease, dysfunction, stop fighting it. Start loving it. Send genuine, unconditional love to those cells and watch what happens. Trust your inner knowing. You have guidance available constantly, not from external God judging your worthiness, but from your own higher consciousness.
Learn to listen. Question everything you've been taught about limitation. If someone says, "That's impossible," ask yourself, impossible or just unprecedented in my experience? You can close this video and return to the comfortable belief that you're powerless, that healing requires external intervention, that Jesus was uniquely divine and you are fundamentally flawed. Or you can do what I did. You can start experimenting, testing, applying these principles and observing results. You might discover, as I did, that everything you were taught about God, Jesus, healing, and human potential was incomplete. Not wrong, but dramatically smaller than the truth. I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share. Have you ever experienced a healing that defied medical explanation? Have you ever prayed and felt like something actually shifted? Have you ever sensed there was more to Jesus' teachings than churches shared? Your experiences matter. Your awakening matters. You are part of a global shift happening right now. Millions of people remembering their divine nature, questioning limiting beliefs, activating abilities that had been dormant for lifetimes. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs hope. Tag someone who's been searching for deeper truth. Leave a comment about your own awakening experiences. Subscribe to Stories of Light for more testimonies that bridge spirituality, extraterrestrial contact, and the hidden teachings of Jesus. Your consciousness is more powerful than you've been taught. It's time to remember.